Hey, what's up, everybody? Ryan here with Third Coast Grappling. My partner Zach.
What's going on?
So we're back for Third Coast Grappling Radio
Number 5.
Number 5, man. We are growing up.
So this is actually the 6th week because we had 1 week off. But
so yeah, technically 6 weeks, but number 5. So we've had a pretty good week for the business. There's been a lot of stuff coming out about some of our plans for the future and just some of the stuff that we've kind of been expanding into and to try to grow our business and to continue, our mission to grow the sport exponentially, not just a little bit.
So what's been going on? Catch me up.
I know.
I gotta tell my messages. I get these messages throughout the day that I can't read. And he's like, so what do you think about that? And I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
So guys, I mean, Zach's a great partner, good yin and yang, but generally I know that it's either come to him with a bunch of stuff or just get after it. And it'd be like your parents, tell them after the fact and hopefully they don't get too mad.
Ryan uses 20 different modes of communication too. So, and he has elevation. So if he really needs to talk to me, he'll text message.
Exactly.
But most of it is on other forms of social platforms.
Like if you look at my phone today, and just in general, the reason I communicate like that, just since Tuesday, I've had 30 plus different conversations with different, just from yesterday and today. So I'll wake up.
Yeah, but you like that too.
I like to
talk to people.
I do, and that's part of my business. I'm a promoter. I'm always out there selling, always out there pushing the brand.
I don't want to talk to anybody.
And Zach is very antisocial, and that's why we do really well.
I'm not antisocial.
I talk enough for the both of us.
I don't think I'm antisocial, but I'm not a networker guy. I'm not like I know this guy. Let me introduce you to this guy. There's certain people that are like networking people, and that's definitely not me. But I'm not antisocial.
No, not at all. Especially when you get a few beers in you.
Everybody's a little more social when they have some beers.
Just a little bit. Speaking of beers, our alcoholic producer Oliver over here has already popped the top. So
I'm a social drinker. I just got a lot of stories to tell. That's all.
So I guess we'll just kind of get into it. Things have been really picking up on the global scene for us. So we announced this week that we are going to the UK. We talked about it last podcast a little bit, but things are really.
We've had some matches I think come out since.
Yeah, some things have really started to solidify. I know we had talked before that Lucas Barbosa versus Craig Jones was the target, but Craig, he's kind of on Trump's bad list, so might just boot his butt back to Australia if he leaves. So. We had to come in and, I put my brains together with Chris over there at Grapple Fest, and we came up with a great match. We've got Lucas Barbosa versus Nick Rodriguez, the rematch. They met at BJJ Fanatics initially in the Absolute Grand Prix, and they probably should have met at Kasai, this recent one. Excuse me, guys. I had a poke bowl earlier. It's just kind of tearing me up, but no. I mean, they should have fought at Kasai, I think, at the heavyweight tournament. But Cyborg basically got a bye because Vinny got injured, despite Nicky and him having,
that was a weird rule set to where
it's like
Nicky couldn't be. I mean, he
drew with
Cyborg and Vinny Magalesh, but I think
dominated. I thought
if it was a judge's decision, he would have won both of those. So it's just a technicality.
So with Vinny going out and then Cyborg.
Did Vinny get hurt? What happened to him?
I forgot. I think it was the match with who did he go against first? I think it was that Russian guy or whatever, the Fight Sports guy that came in last second.
It's one of those things. You see people on TV all the time, and then you see them in real life, and they're so much bigger.
Cyborg's a big dude.
Cyborg and Vinny. I remember one of the Houston Opens, Vinny was there, and he was talking to another Vinny Magalesh. He was talking to our Professor Draculino. And they're talking in Portuguese, and then
Portuguese.
Yeah, Professor Draculino walked off, and I go, "The Magalhães," and he goes, "Yeah, he's my dad."
That's funny. But Vinny got hurt, I believe, against that match. But it's going to be a great rematch. I mean, those guys. I think it's going to be 15 minutes under Grapple Fest rules, which is sub only, basically.
You know what we should do is have during our LA match have Vinny Magalesh versus Hanato.
I'll try and make that happen. No, but I mean, but getting through the UK stuff, I mean, we're really coming together on some matches. We're working on Edwin Najmi versus Dante Leon in the gi, which would be a rematch from Kasai. I think Pro 5.
Are they the same weight?
They're about 170, 175. We're going to do it at 80 kilos. So Edwin's looking forward to that. I think we're gonna get that sewed up probably in the next couple of days.
Did you hear that? Did you see that video where Dante was talking? I think it was on Flow Grappling, but he was doing an interview and he was like, "Yeah, I don't want any like Instagram beef with Gordon Ryan." He's like, "That guy will like basically shut down your Instagram if you go after him."
Gordon told me yesterday because like the Tex thing that's coming up, he's about to fight Tex Johnson, and I've kind of I like Tex. He's a good guy. He's a tortured guy. He's been through a lot, with stuff, his battles with different teams, but I still think that it's still too soon for him to be able to get back up at the highest level against the highest, the best in the game after the incident with William Tackett, after the other stuff. And I just think that maybe he needs to work a little bit more on himself and maybe look after his mental health and stop being thrust out into the spotlight that caused him all the problems in the first place.
Yeah, he's in a new gym now, though. He might have turned a new leaf.
And Cyborg, is a great leader, but I'm just concerned that I don't want what Gordon's going to do to him. It's not going to be. Gordon's like I'm going to make a point. This is what he told me. I'm going to make a point with Tex that if you come at me on social media, I'm going to brutalize you on the mats because he's talking neon face.
When we talked to Tex Johnson, he was so. He talked so highly of Gordon. He was like, Gordon's like the best thing for the sport. So
it got sideways because Tex got drunk and then he shit talked us and then he started calling Gordon's dad an old drunk. And
what did Gordon do to like Macy's? Did he went to Macy's and I guess they had bad service, so he sent his followers.
He's done that a few times. There's a gym that tried to kick him out. So he's basically an internet bully. Is basically what Gordon Ryan is.
But he's got a whole he's got thousands of internet.
He's got a bunch of fucking crazy glossy-eyed king goat followers. It's crazy. The guy will be like, all right, take down that church, and he'll just have
there was a store or something that gave him bad service, and he had every single one of his followers, not every single one, do a 1-star Yelp review, and destroyed that business. That business is.
So granted, he's young, that type of stuff. The more notoriety.
I think it's funny.
I get a kick out of it. Don't get me wrong, but I think it'll come to a point now to where you'll see Conor McGregor, right? Conor realized he went a little too far at some points. He admitted he went too far with the Khabib beef, all going after his religion and all that stuff. And I think it gets to a point.
Decking old dudes at bars.
Yeah,
Papa 12.
Snorting lines, just getting in fights, whatever. If I'm Conor McGregor.
Cheating on his wife, the usual, rich people stuff.
But you watch his documentary, it literally from living with his parents, having no money, to the biggest star in 3 years.
How much is his parents, riding his coattails?
Oh, mom out there? Mom
his whole family, not his parents.
His sisters, dad.
Now they're all dressed in, crazy suits.
Gucci and, McGregor, August McGregor suits. But,
hey, man, he takes care of his family.
But,
That's
if I could like that, I'm 20,
way.
If I had money, I kind of had decent money when I was my early 20s. When I was contracting, I was making 6 figures straight out of the military, and I didn't know
what. You did the same thing that every other contractor does, spend it all on bullshit.
Yeah, had some awesome vacations.
I worked with a guy that did contracting, and he bought 10 guitars and
that's all you can do is spend your money while you're
1,000 cigars. I'm like, what do you? He lost it all, and he was broke. And
mine was I had a girl I was dating, and so we would go take these cool trips, we're gonna go out to Breckenridge, and we're gonna go do this, and we're gonna do that, and then I would come home and get
where's all my money? I got to go back to Iraq.
Jody steps in as soon as I get on the plane.
Yeah.
No, but it I've had a little bit of money, and it made me want to just party. I wanted to get limos and go to clubs and spend a bunch of money. So I can't imagine that level of notoriety and hype and fame at that age, coming from nothing, never having anything, to all of a sudden having everything.
The more famous you get and the more money you get, the more stuff you get for free.
But it's also the more problems you have too. I think Mr. Puff Daddy himself wrote a song called "Mo Money, Mo Problems." Biggie and Puffy, wasn't it?
I'm pretty sure it's Biggie.
Yeah, no, Biggie and Puffy both did that song. Why don't you fact check it, pal? But no, yeah, I think that's what comes along. But with Gordon, he's smart. He bought a home. They're getting ready to move. Biggie and Puff is on there.
Well, it says
Puff was the producer.
I'm sure Puffy produced it.
No, he's literally rapped on the song.
He raps on everything he goes in, man.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not trying to argue, but I'm just saying it's not.
It's a Biggie song.
Hey, we're both right. High five.
You know who killed Biggie? Puff Daddy. You know who's gonna kill Oliver? Me. So.
Puff Ryan.
What'd you call me?
Straight ankle murder. Straight up
I
murder.
tried to rip Zach's leg off his body earlier this week. I didn't have it.
No
though.
go.
I didn't have it. I was trying to. I had a good grip. The one that Bill showed us at 4 a.m. in the garage. I had that same grip and everything, but I think I was too high up on your leg, so I wasn't able to get the leverage on it.
I didn't let you get it.
Oh, is that what happened? We'll fucking have a leg lock battle right here, right now, on the podcast.
Let's do it.
Whatever. I got my new shoes on. So I went to the mall and I found like some, like I'm trying to upgrade from, like Zach's always giving me shit about my sandals. He's like, you wear
Shower sandals to
he's
out in public.
he's like, you wear your cargo shorts and your sandals like you're a fucking 30-year-old frat boy or something. And he gets, so like I saw these and I'm like, these are really nice. So then like, they're one step up from sandals, but
They're adulty.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like dock shoes.
Yeah.
And they're called Hey Dude. I don't know. They work out, but they're pretty comfortable. But on to more news. So 3CG UK, headlined by Gordon Ryan, Kyle Boehm. First time Gordon's ever been to the UK. Like it's hard. It was hard to get him there. I mean, the deal was tough, but it's gonna be big for the UK, big for grappling, and us being the first promotion to really just put our balls on the table and say we're going overseas. We're gonna take this mission, elsewhere. And we decided that this was a year we're gonna go into other markets, and we're gonna bring our brand of grappling and our brand of show business and our brand of entertainment to the world. Because I think if you come to a Third Coast Grappling show, it's one thing to watch it or to see the cool videos on Instagram or to see the matchups, but our live show is what sells it. And I'm telling you, I don't care if you're a practitioner, if you're a grandma of a practitioner, if you don't even know what jiu-jitsu is and you just stumbled in drunk, like you're going to have like...
That's going to be fun.
It's going to be a blast. So I like that. Something I've been kind of talking to people about lately is about how, there's entertainment and there's sports entertainment like WWE. So essentially what I would like to build is not get too gimmicky like the WWE, but have those sort of like those influences in it to where we could basically be seen as sports entertainment, but it's real. It's actually real.
If you
like
think
there's real submissions, there's real people, real matches.
If you think about it, every sport is a form of entertainment. Like
has elements of entertainment to it.
Well, I mean, go to a Texans game.
Of course.
How much like are they having people, gimmicks in the middle of the game, right?
Well, that's like the spectator experience thing we're trying to do.
Right.
Same thing.
You gotta make it entertaining for the fans.
Keep them engaged.
Because there's going to be plenty of people there that don't maybe like football or don't like grappling, and you have to have that entertainment component of it. But in general, if it's not entertaining, nobody's going to watch it.
Exactly.
And people are mostly entertained by the sport because they appreciate how hard it is, how difficult it is. They know the rules, and maybe they grew up watching it.
It's like watching football. Like if you grew up playing football, you grew up, you know the rules, you know the ins and outs.
If you look up nothing about cricket and you turn on a cricket game, you probably won't be entertained because you don't know any of the rules. But if they throw in like entertaining stuff in between, you might, or give a little bit more character development on, the different athletes.
And that's something
how hard did they work to get there?
And like that's something you see with me. Like I'm always looking for an angle or a storyline or something that's going to get people talking. Like we'll talk about it later, but like the Andrew Tackett match, how that came together. I've been looking at some crazy stuff, like doing a triple threat match, putting 3 blue belts in there, no gi, and the last man who survives and doesn't get tapped wins. I want to do crazy. How
would that work though?
So you would have all 3 of them in there.
Yeah.
3. You'd have like one corner, one the other, and then like one in the center, and then you would say go, and then they would go at each other, and they'd all 3 converge. And if 2 of them go on one guy and tap him out, then the next tap each one has to tap the other out. So it'd be kind of like a handicap tag team match at some point.
So if you get tapped, you're out, and then there's just 2 and 2.
Mm-hmm. So I just think it could add like a cool what the element to it, like the triple threat matches and this is all pro wrestling I'm stealing from, but it's like it's one of my favorite things. I love that sort of gimmickry and like pageantry.
Well, while we're here, do you want to move into the making the match about the 3-on-1?
Actually, let's go in. I think next up is the recap in 2019 in review, just to kind of go over our first year. So where do we start? January 3CG1.
Yeah, getting getting Keenan on our very first match.
Bro, I felt like a crazy ex-girlfriend as much as I harassed that guy to take that match. Like, same with Flow Grappling. Like, we didn't...
Well, he had like 3 different people that he was going to go up against too.
Yeah,
and Tex was kind of a last-minute replacement.
Because people kept dropping out, like Hebamar and like all these other guys. So,
I mean, we weren't even sure, like, day of, like, is he really going to actually show up?
Well, no,
and
he
do
came
it?
to the weigh-ins and he was sick. So like,
Yeah,
I remember
he was sick. He
like
called you.
he
and
called me. He's
"I
like,
don't
hey, can
wanna
I,
go to
can
the
I?
weigh-ins."
He's like, can I stay here? And I'm like, we literally put you in a hotel right across the street. I was like, I can see your hotel from the part of the weigh-ins. I was like, get over here.
Yeah.
And it was cool. And you know, I think he had like a little bit of a flu, but he still came out and
So
did
let's
great.
talk about our first like event faux pas, or not faux pas, but like issues. Like we did not realize, we've been to Scout Bar, we've seen concerts at Scout Bar, so we knew like you could be at a table and other people can be standing and you can still see the
Because they're standing.
because they're standing.
Yeah.
But what happens in jiu-jitsu is they go to the ground.
and then nobody can
And
see
we
it.
had sold so many general admission tickets because we didn't know what the numbers were going to be, that people were standing in front of tables. We didn't cordon off like the tables from the
There was
general
no
admission.
levels to kind of.
And so that was the first issue. People could not see. The second issue is our time clock, or the video. The projector was showing the timer, not the actual feed, because we didn't know how to set that up at the time. We eventually got professionals, and
Like this is all do it ourselves. Like, we
but
did a lot
also
of this
Scout Bar didn't have the wiring to have the entire place
until after that.
until after they're like, oh crap, we need to like wire this whole thing to where you can have the same feed on everything.
But the thing also is with Scout Bar, like Thomas is pretty smart about with regards to capacity. But for
you said
us,
he had never seen anything like
there's
that.
never been a crowd like that at Scout Bar, and I've thrown shows there, free shows with Papa Roach, all
before
kinds
the
of crazy
event
stuff.
started, like right before it started, I still went
The
outside
line
and I saw
wrapped around the building.
Yeah, I was like, this is not good because it's already so crowded.
But
in
it was
here.
so awesome. Like, and then we
I
got
remember people being like, I think the fire department's gonna come and kick you guys out.
and you know what? I loved it because it was something like you don't want to half sell a room, and we'll get into that event when we get to it and kind of the creative thing. But you don't want to half sell it. Like a lot of these guys get all these huge venues and do that, and then only fill it halfway and whatever. We want to keep our venues in line with
that was a little too much,
but it was awesome. And like we oversold it kind of purposely,
and
it
Twin
was
Peaks was one of our sponsors, so we were like, hey, have send over some Twin Peaks waitresses. And I thought they would be in like Twin Peaks.
They came out
outfits.
in full on bikinis.
Yeah, they're just in bikini. They're like 18-year-old girls in bikinis.
I felt like a perverted old man, like sitting. I was like, "Can you want a jacket, sweetie?"
Yeah,
Like
nobody knows. Nobody knows that they're Twin Peaks waitresses. All they know is that they're just
they're
girls
in bikinis.
in bikinis.
Like we trafficked them in.
Oh, it was-
Like I don't know. It was the first event was crazy, but that's what got us out there.
It was definitely fun. Yeah.
And when we started it, that's what I told Zach. I was like, we've got to get out there and make a bang. So we did that with 3CG1, and I was like, well, 3CG2 is our all-in moment. Like this is where we hack the industry. This is where we get our name out there. We jump the line.
Yeah. So that's when we did the first one at Warehouse Live,
and it was unreal.
So issues with that first one is the tables we had ordered.
We're like the long.
They're like the long 6-person table, but we only had 4 people at them, so it took up so much space. And then they overbooked the tables.
like 12 or 13 tables. They oversold
Yeah, so
it.
we had like no room for all these tables, but we had to put them out.
And we made it work. But look, like when we started this thing, we're not out here, like contracting guys that have been in the business forever or talking to all these industry heads. Because you want to know the honest truth, I don't want anybody's opinion really if they've been in this industry for a long time, because we came in the industry wanting to change it. So why am I going to go keep getting advice from people that have just been doing the same old?
Right.
I was like, so me and Zach have always tried to keep. There's a couple of people I talk to for advice, like Seth from Fight to Win, Mo. Like there's a few people that I respect in the industry that I'll go to for advice. And whether I like it or not, it's another thing. But I go to them and talk to them and get feedback. But what we're doing, me and Zach kind of always tried to keep our eyes on what we're doing, innovating and focusing on our product.
And we had so many big-time athletes in there that I think it took a lot of people by surprise. It was like an ADCC level.
Like the weigh-ins at Pitch
event.
Pitch 25.
Yeah, that was cool
so
too.
cool,
yeah,
yeah.
there was just so many high-level athletes. If you haven't seen Third Goes Grappling 2, go to Flow Grappling and watch that, because that was And it was every match was amazing.
But see, another issue with that is, when I'm doing all the timing and the matchmaking and planning out the schedule for the night, I didn't take into account that every black belt might go to overtime. Black belt match might go to overtime,
Right, yeah.
because of how
until like 2 o'clock.
we went to almost like 1 something in the morning. We didn't even get to go to our after party. Like,
yeah, so we're like, okay, let's pare down the matches a little bit. Let's make it 5 minutes. We think was it 5 minutes then too?
No, for what, overtime?
No, the regular. Oh, 7
No,
minutes.
7 minutes. Yeah,
It was 7 minutes.
It was 7, but the thing is a lot of those matches were going into overtime.
Yeah.
And so you'd have the 7 plus the 5, and I was only planning for the 7. And then, we were trying to like keep things in line and do our thing with the crowd and give an intermission break. And then our first announcer,
Oh yeah,
he went to Breckenridge right in the middle of the right in the middle of the show. I mean, it was just we do it ourselves. Like, this is the thing, as I'm trying to say. Like, me and Zach have built this company from literally nothing, an idea, to what it is today, and we've done it with the help of our community, the help of our friends, the help of our training partners.
The idea was to help our community too.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't come
more work and get them opportunity
to bring
get their name out
and
there.
To bring real high level jiu-jitsu to Houston, to bring these big names, the seminars, and just having those people. The 3CG effect is real. We're bringing in names that would never come to Houston. Yeah. We're bringing in crowds and people and media and attention to Third Coast athletes that has never happened before. Yeah. So we're on the national level, and we put Houston on our back, and I mean, we're not stopping anytime soon.
By the time we got to qualifiers 2 out bar, I think we had dialed it in to where everyone could see, everyone had a good time.
It went really smooth, but the issue with that is we kind of miscalculated on. We were like, oh, we don't need you guys to sell tickets. Like, we don't need that.
And we didn't have a lot of. I think we had a lot of out of towners too.
So
right?
So it was like I me, I monitor like the sales and stuff really closely just to kind of get an idea on what to expect on show night. So with that, I saw it was like really slow. So we were able to go out and get a sponsor, and I was like, you know what? I was like, you want to make a real splash? Let's turn, lemonade or whatever some cool saying is. I don't know. I'm not going to try.
In the lemonade.
But we're going to turn a bad situation into a good, because we're about to go make this whole event free. We're going to sell tables for like $50 or $100, but we're going to free general admission, and it turned into a great crowd. The fights all delivered. William Tackett won our purple belt bracket and went on to do some really big things, not just for us, but across the world.
Yeah.
So we've been able to, in the last year, really launch some fresh talent and really give guys that have been kind of jockeying on that regional stage. That the Poke Bowl's coming out before this podcast is over, I promise.
We're gonna get to my poke.
But yeah, it's we've been able to really create a platform, and we did it with a good hearts. Like, we never came in here trying to exploit anybody or to make money off of anybody. We just came in to build a viable business model where everybody can share in the profits and everybody can win together. And that's what what we're trying to do. So we went on from the qualifiers 2 to 3CG3, right?
No, 2. Oh yeah, then we did the qualifiers 2, and then we did 3CG3
and then the kids
in December.
And then the kids right after that. So yeah,
well, that was in 2020, right? Kids.
Oh yeah, so yeah, we won't talk about the kids.
But I think by the time we got to 3CG3 and Warehouse Live, like, we had dialed it in. That ran so smoothly.
That was such a great, and like that show was, like, I would say it's my crowning achievement, I think, because just how on time I had it and just how well all the matches, performed.
Some of the athletes were a little confused on the schedule because some last minute changes, but
I get a little obsessive with it. I make changes up to the last second, but that was on me and nobody else. But it's 3CG3 turned out to be our like crowning jewel, with
awesome.
The Bo Nickel thing, teaming up with Gordon and Bo and bringing in the wrestling. And like, even me and Zach have been having like some pretty intimate talks with some guys from USA Wrestling. So we're looking at possibly, sewing something up with those guys
intimate,
soon.
Meaning like candlelight?
No, just intimate, like we whispered because our wives are sleeping. So it was just it was late. I didn't want to wake anybody up. No, but we've been having some really big talks with like different partners. I mean, one of the biggest concert producer and promoters in the world is taking a look at us right now to possibly bring us on, which would be kind of the equivalent to a major label signing. Yeah. And if that's the case, I mean, we basically have the key to the industry. And if you think we're crazy now, let me get a record deal. Let me get a record deal. No, I'm talking. No, I'm just kidding. But 3CG3 was special for a lot of reasons. I mean, the community really came out, but it was also kind of that moment because the summer from June until December, we had to fight for fight for our survival. Some of it was self-inflicted, but others was just people doing business with the wrong people, talking to the wrong people, and those wrong people running their mouth about things they didn't know anything about. And in the end,
it was a long break for us too, where we didn't have any matches. So it was
Like
Now, I mean, since 3CG3, we've had we've had
a match a month.
every month, and planning on continuing that throughout the year. So I think we've definitely dialed it in for those specific places. And, the first times we're going to these other places are going to be learning lessons that you're just going to keep on learning, growing, coming everywhere with a better, event and a better product overall.
Well, when I kind of like conceptualized 3CG with like with the Scout Bar and all said, I always like conceptualize an event that we could scale. And, to scale up to bigger venues, because I always had in mind Warehouse Live. I always had that in my head, like, okay, we're going to do good here. We're going to kill it. Next move is Warehouse Live. We're going to kill it there. We're going to stick with them as long as we can. Next step up is Revention Music Center, and so on and so forth. But, Warehouse Live and those guys have been so good to us. I don't think I ever want to leave. I mean, I'd rather just keep selling out events and just keep having great environments and great crowds and great events. And, I'm not really interested in that. So, but yeah, 3CG3 was definitely a big moment for me personally, for the business. And it really, I think, kind of stuck our flag in the ground. It said, we're here, we're not going anywhere. And, we're not just a flash in the pan. We're here, we're serious. And I think people are really waking up to that now, because the more, I'm out in the Reddit sphere or out on Instagram, or like people are listening up. Like we're getting hundreds of new followers almost a day right now.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. It's like every day there's like 100 more. It's like 13.1, 0.2.
So it's going up incrementally because we've really started to put a lot of effort in our content side.
Yeah, like videos are big on interaction and people watching them.
And it just gives a lot of value also to the athletes. If we're going out there and profiles, stuff like that. Like we do this all ourselves. Like I said, this is all in house. I mean, we have a great partner in Flow Grappling, but their goals are different in terms of promoting the event. They're looking more closer to the event to keep people, keep people's attention and to get
people
them.
People don't know what they're going to be watching on TV 2 months out.
Yeah.
Or a week out.
Or a day, a couple of days out. I mean, you might play the
I know
week
I'm going
of.
to be watching the Fury fight this weekend, but besides
but not with me or Oliver.
No,
because you're going to be out of town.
I got better friends to hang out with.
It's okay. I promise you, they don't know jiu-jitsu.
They do know jiu-jitsu.
Do they?
Yeah.
Oh, it's Coop. Yeah. Oh, never mind. He knows judo too.
Yeah, and wrestling.
Yeah, never mind. Fuck that guy.
And he's done a boxing match.
So there you go. Coop knows jiu-jitsu. Holla at me, Coop. Come through.
It's been 30 minutes?
No, we got 3 minutes left in this segment.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, but yeah, I mean,
Gotcha.
So 3CG3, like I said, was a giant event for us. We were really able to make some connections, we had some big names out there. Michael Zinga from BJJ Fanatics, Mo Jossam from ADCC was our guest and came out. We really want to keep bringing our show and getting these VIPs and these big people and these big names and people that have been in the industry.
Classy Grappler was there.
Speaking of Classy Grappler, we're going to have, me and him have been working on cool like routines in between breaks or the show and stuff. So it's going to be a lot of crowd interaction. So coming up in March, you guys are going to expect a full-on show.
He's going to be our mascot.
Basically, yeah.
If what a mascot does is get people.
Yeah, he's going to be like a cheerleader in a way.
Around with them. And
He's going to be like that guy in the Mighty Mighty Boss House that just...
Exactly, and he's going to play the impression that I get over and over again. But no, it's from now to where we're at now. 2019 was a year of learning.
With every business, the first year is going to be a roller coaster.
A lot of people would have shied away and went away in some of our, but me and Zach are pretty resilient. He's lifted me up where I've needed it, and vice versa. And we're in good shape for 2020. There ain't no stopping us now. So moving on, we're going to get into the Making the Match segment again. This one is kind of over the Andrew Tackett match that I kind of conceptualized out of nowhere.
Well, it was from his Jits King, right? Which match did you see him just dominate? William Tackett.
William did a team. They all did it. Like William and Cody did an event in I think the Ukraine or whatever, and like literally the whole Jewish like Israeli like jiu-jitsu team. William Tackett tapped all 5 of them like by himself, like back to back.
Yeah.
So I was like, everybody wanted to fight Andrew. I knew would get blown out. Or the people I wanted to fight Andrew didn't want to have anything to do with him. So I was like, you know what?
That's tough to find. I mean, when you're good, people don't want to.
They don't want to lose to a blue belt kid. Like, no. I don't want to lose that one either. Like, I'm not even a pro jiu-jitsu athlete.
No, Mo went up against him. He was like, that kid.
You went up against him.
No, I
mean,
mean,
it's training,
I
but-
trained against
But
him.
he's, I mean, you felt.
I didn't give him 100%, but
Hey, Andrew Tackett versus Zach Marshall. That's at 3CG5, ladies and gentlemen.
no, I'm purple belt now.
Yeah, level up, homeboy. Then you can get that rematch.
William Tackett's purple belt though. No,
You don't,
he's
you don't
brown
want
belt.
that.
He's
You
brown
don't
belt
want that
now.
either.
No, he's brown belt now.
Is he a brown belt? Yeah,
Yeah,
he's a
then he
brown
just got
belt. Yeah,
promoted.
yeah. But no, with this match, I kind of dreamt it up. You know, there was 3 of the guys coming out: Corbin Signs, Flavius, and then Curry Gout. You know, Curry fought for us. He fought against Mo. You know, Mo stepped in last minute against him. And it was a good match, but these guys are kind of under the radar. You know, there's real scrappy. They're tough guys, and they're guys that, you know, they're going to come out and they're going to take it to Andrew because we put on the line for those guys $1,500. $1,500 if you can submit that young man. And that's kind of me saying, hey guys, like, we got the money, and if you can go do what I think, in my opinion, is possibly the unthinkable and tap this kid, because I've never seen him tapped. You know, if you can do it, we're going to financially reward you. But
5 minutes, right?
5 minutes. So it'll be one match,
minutes
5
total.
minutes. And if Andrew doesn't submit them, then it's just like a draw and you move on. But the goal is Andrew submits them. He gets paid a certain amount that we've negotiated. And then if they submit Andrew, then they get this. Look, when the way I set it up was like, these guys are not a known entity. Andrew has a lot of like national exposure now. People know who he is. So for him to get submitted, to reward that with more money is a little bit more than Andrew going out and submitting people that, you know, most people would think that it should be a given. And I'm not saying these guys are scrubs or they don't have a chance. I'm just saying that there's the school of thought out there that, you know, Andrew Tackett is tapping black belts on the regular. So purple belts, blue belts, and stuff like that, he shouldn't have an issue with. So why would I say, hey, Andrew, $1,500, go out and tap these guys that, you know, it just is not equitable. So I think that was kind of a misunderstanding, because I've been getting a little bit of feedback on Instagram and you know, from people that, oh, you're paying a blue belt $1,500. I'm like, well, he's not just a blue belt, number one, but no, that's not what we're paying him. So down goes Frazier. Sorry guys, I just knocked the camera over. And
Classic Ryan.
but you know, the
Bull
Andrew,
in a china shop. Wait, what's your nickname?
the Wildebeest.
Wildebeest.
Yeah, so watch out. The Wildebeest to a city near you. But no, with Andrew though, that was something I dreamed of. Who doesn't want to see the potential of a 16-year-old blue belt tapping 3 people back to back to back on the biggest stage? And I'm going to say it, 3CG4 coming up is the biggest event, like spectacle event and matchup lineup in history. Lucas said it himself. We did some video shooting, Lucas Valente with them. He said it himself. Professor Draculino, they say, and they're not just saying it to gas us up. Like, these guys have been in the game. They study the game. This is bar none. We is breaking our own records. All we're doing is outdoing ourselves at this point.
Right.
Because our 3CG3 was the
That's how you grow, right? Each event has got to be better.
You know, so we're, you know, I'm excited to have Andrew, William, and Cody back. You know, after 3CG, they kind of had to go do some stuff, you know, overseas and kind of go out there and become men and make their names. And we're happy to have all 3 of them back. So Andrew Tackett versus 3 other individuals at one
That's
time.
gonna be nuts.
It's going to be the kind of innovation you can expect for us. Part of the show aspect. Even if you don't know jiu-jitsu, you just watched a guy beat 3 guys in a row. Like, who doesn't enjoy that? You know, like, who wouldn't enjoy that? So we're excited for that. It's going to be great. So make sure you tune in March 14th, 3CG4.
Also, we're gonna have Everyday Hotto merch there.
Oh, yeah. And we're working also with Future Kimonos. We should be announcing our new deal with them, but those guys are incredible. James, great guy. But they are leading, I think, the industry right now in terms of the designs. And
definitely in the marketing.
Zach really likes their nogi shorts.
Short leather shorts. I don't know if it's the picture or
I told you it looks like the
actually
material, like that Lycra type of like stripper material.
It looks like pleather.
Whatever. Maybe it is.
It doesn't look like jiu-jitsu shorts.
But I mean, those guys, like, they're doing customizable.
But everything else, I totally wear.
They do great stuff. So I mean,
I wear the rash guard that can't fuck with a rash guard. That one's good. It's good quality.
They're great, and they're real
But
well
the
fit.
leather short pants, I don't know. It's
But no, we're gonna have those guys out there coming out for 3CG4. James will be here. He's doing some video work for us also up there right now in New York with the Gracie guys. So shout out James.
Some of their videos are really good.
He does it all himself. He edits himself. He does all the music. The score is all original stuff.
Nice.
Super talented guy. But yeah, we're excited to continue working with Future Kimonos for the rest of the year, and hopefully to continue grow with a great brand. So
Nice.
another brand that we no, I'll save that. So let's get into kind of previewing a little bit more some of and dive more in depth into some of these these matches on 3CG4. Sorry guys, I had a seizure there. But so the main event, Gordon Ryan versus Patrick Gaudio. No time limit, sub only. So Gordon
rematch because this was Worlds, right?
There's Nogi World.
Worlds
So
where he beat him.
He lost by an advantage. So it was very close. Gaudio is a killer.
That one's got his back too.
Mm-hmm. Gaudio, he just tapped Felipe Andrew with a knee bar.
Yeah.
In the gi. And he was supposed to face Keenan in the gi. So they're doing the.
Is this pre or post head tattoo?
I think it's post head tattoo. So Mike Tyson got really vicious after his face tattoo. So maybe there's something to it. But Patrick Gaudio was supposed to face Keenan this weekend, but Keenan pulled off that event, which I think is a good move. I don't think Keenan should be competing right now until he's back training and he's back, being able to dedicate himself to that kind of competition.
I like their Legion videos they're coming because it seems like he has kind of like a full-time blogger or vlogger that kind of follows him around the gym.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, really good content. It's funny and
he's always put out good stuff. And that's why, people can laugh at Keenan. Oh, he got beat, but what Keenan's doing also,
making that money.
He's limping or whatever he's doing, but he's making more money than anybody else in the sport right now. Yeah. Keenan and Gordon are the kings.
Entrepreneur.
And he does it all. I mean, you got to look at Keenan. He's an innovator from his unique guard play to the way he produces his content to the way his online planning stuff.
Yeah, I love the
he's a master marketer.
Encyclopedia. That shit is awesome.
He's a great marketer. Good. I mean, it's
Worm Wrestling just came out. Got to catch
up
on that.
Like the stuff that we were kind of looking at today in class, where you had like the lapel and you're kind of going into the single. It's kind of similar to that too.
I'll tell you whenever I go through the course.
No, I was watching one where he does one where basically like you're starting, you go for a single, but you basically wrap through and then you use that.
What I like about it too is he updates the content. So if you get the encyclopedia, the lapel encyclopedia, you will continue to get new courses as he drops them.
So it's like a lifetime,
you won't get
basically.
Charged more, yeah. So most times you buy a video and that's what you have, and there's no updates, or you got to buy the next video.
But he's doing great stuff too. Like if you bring in a gi from another affiliation, they're gonna swap it out and give you a Legion gi. Yeah. That's amazing, dude. Like that. So I love that outside the box thinking. I take a lot of
rash guard too. I think he said.
Yeah. So I take a lot of inspiration from stuff like that. People like Eddie Bravo has always been a big influence on me, and the way he's kind of always innovated for the sport. Keenan with his ways. I mean, there's people that are doing things that not everybody else is doing, and you're seeing the success they're getting. And there's a reason, because I mean, if you want to just be a copy of a copy, you're eventually gonna, eventually your resolution's gonna get burnt out, and people aren't gonna see the same thing that you see. So, or you want them to see. So, I'm looking forward to that match. It's gonna be, I think it's gonna be tactical at first. Because Gordon's going to want to go out and get this. It's going to make a statement. He doesn't want this to draw out. He doesn't want it, But I think part of it, Patrick has kind of had some cardio issues in the past. So Gordon may look to exploit that. This is his rule set. He loves it.
I think Gordon is a master rule follower. If you think about it,
look who his coach is.
Yeah, he finds any areas of the rules that he can exploit.
Like the Bo Nickel match.
I mean, can you imagine? I know before he did Worlds, he went to like the rules meeting. Mm-hmm. Can you imagine what kind of a nightmare he was to like those refs?
Asking questions and like
using all the Japanese words he could.
So can you change that Portuguese term to inside Senkaku, please?
but inside Bukaki?
What? What are you watching on TV? No, but the more I was around him, the more I see why he's as he is what he is. All that guy knows is jiu-jitsu. That's all he does. Is he eats, sleeps, and there's a few other people I've been like that, like Lucas Valente. He's the same way. Like all he knows is jiu-jitsu. All he cares about is jiu-jitsu, and that's all.
That's how you become great at something, right?
And like me, like I've thrown myself into third coast. That's
that and Dick, but.
And Dick is my uncle. He's been very ill in the hospital. So
Richard,
why would you throw his slang name out there?
He had a heart McGuire, aka Dick.
But yeah, Uncle Dick, if you're out there listening, Ryan loved Dick. He misses you.
Ryan loved the Dick. Ryan loved Uncle Dick.
Uncle Dick, come home.
He's obsessed.
But I expect that match to be, potentially fight of the night. I mean, Gordon's going to go out there. He's going to do his thing. But I think Gaudio's going to really want to show up and prove something. I mean, that guy's been taking all the shit talking. He's prideful. They call him the Lion because of the size of his heart. He's not going to quit. So for Gordon to get him, it's going to take him to get him.
No time limit. So this could go all night.
Yeah, but I don't think it's going to. If you look at I was looking at some numbers. If you look at typically a lot of these sub only no time limits, most of them don't get past 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, that's still a long match.
It is, but if you look at it in a grand scheme of things, we're doing a 10-minute match with a 5-minute overtime, or we're doing a 15-minute match with a 10-minute overtime, or ADCC
typically
is
7 and 5, so
ADCC is 10 and 10.
minutes.
ADCC is 10 and 10.
But something that Professor Brandon had said one time is that typically if you have 7 minutes, people are going to get submitted. Like if you have a 7-minute match, more people are going to get submitted within that 7 minutes than if you do a 10-minute match.
Well, because they're going to pace themselves, they're going to do things. So the time that comes into play, you have to look at it too from like the no time limit sub only. They don't have to worry about points. They don't have to worry about a clock. They can go out there and do jiu-jitsu and not have to have any sort of plan other than to go out there and submit the other guy.
So how come Gordon hasn't done our rule set yet?
Man, I sent that screenshot over to him that you sent to me about. What Gordon's out here bitching about everybody else's rules. So why hasn't he done the Third Coast Grappling rules?
Right.
So here's the deal. My gauntlet, I'm going to throw it out. Gordon Ryan versus Rafael Lovato, June 13th, 3CG5, under 3CG rules.
That would be
so
awesome. Yeah.
I've been talking to Rafael.
Another person that is humongous in real life. Like,
My
I was
God.
like, this is a real giant.
Man, when I met him in, we kind of hit it off in Boston when I went there for the Brown Belt tournament, the Fanatics tournament.
Yeah.
And man, he walked in and I'm like,
You're just like
but that'll be American Jiu-Jitsu versus American Jiu-Jitsu. Like Lovato is like one of the biggest like pioneer OGs in the game,
good.
you know, and he's just out there in Podunk, Oklahoma, doing his thing, you know, with their low alcohol content beers.
Yeah, and now that he can focus on jiu-jitsu because the MMA thing is kind of not working out right now because
he had the brain issue
injury,
and stuff. So I think he wants to stay busy with a lot of wrestling stuff. So we're gonna fight. If it's not Gordon him, fine. But that's one that I've had targeted. Gordon Kynan is another one I have targeted. But his next match will be under our rules because I like to bend and I like to do this and I like to change stuff up to make it compelling. But at the end of the day, our rules are the best.
Yeah, our rules are compelling.
And out of I think it was 260 matches, I think 210 or I can't remember 220 or 212.
86%.
Basically, 87% of our matches, guys, over 200 matches across a year. 87% of our matches were by submission. Wow. And most promotions are not getting over 50%. Like I watched some of these cards, and like a lot of them will be
it's
a majority.
The quality of the athletes in the actual matchups too.
Well, in matchmaking, that's what I say. Like matchmaking is an art in itself.
Yeah, it's not just let me get the number 2 guy versus the number 1
guy. No, that's so stupid. Like just to use rankings to matchmake is, I think, the most limiting thing you can do.
I think the UFC has actually gotten better at that too. With
like Dominic Reyes versus John Jones was like number 5 versus number 1.
Yeah, the belt doesn't. I guess for a lot of athletes, the belt doesn't matter anymore. It's
the money and it's the fame.
Well,
it's the
it's
moment.
Your social media. It's how famous are you, and are you, because UFC isn't promoting their fights anymore. It's expected to
they don't have to.
Do.
I mean, when they sign that deal,
no matter what with ESPN. So it's up to the fighters now. Bring your A game.
Yeah. So that's going to be.
It's a factor in a lot of even professional sports. Not just how good the player is, but what kind of crowd can they be? How many jerseys can they sell? Are they likable? That has a big. Otherwise, Antonio Brown would be playing, right?
I'm going to get into more of it in my rant segment coming up, but yeah, that's something I definitely want to touch on because there has to be value on both sides of the relationship. Like you have to have value on the fighter side and you have to have value on our side, and we are generally in most of our situations giving all the value. So people that are out there asking for, you want these big matches, and then you're going to ask me for big money when I have to pay the guy big money to get him here for the match, and you're asking like it's not realistic. And I think that's why I say that this is the most amateur professional sport I've ever been to. You've got managers that have not managed anything, like guys out because these athletes are too lazy to like do it themselves. But I don't know. We'll get into that. But moving into our co-main event,
for as far as we know, to give it credit to, MMA could be the exact same.
Exactly.
And so could Thai fighters and boxers.
But MMA is actually more, to the point where they could almost unionize if they wanted to do that, which is what they were trying to do with the antitrust lawsuit.
Does not want that to happen.
Definitely not. But, there's actually legit managers in MMA. You've got Malky, Abdel Aziz.
There's money there now, and but there's plenty of MMA promotions that are amateur,
with people with a cage around it,
those promoters got to deal with all array of different fighters too.
And MMA is a different animal. It's a different type of people, different, and it's a different scene for sure. But going into, I want to touch on the Pat Downey Nicky Rod match. That's going to be, I think this is the sleeper match of the night because Nicky Rod, and a lot of people don't know, I'm going to probably put it out, but we recently signed Nicky Rod to a 3-fight deal, which is going to be fair. I mean, he's doing us a solid for the UK, coming out and stuff, and to make that up, I'm going to definitely give him something really nice come June timeframe. But Nicky Rod's with us for the next 3 fights, and he's one of the best personalities, one of the hardest workers, and he's one of the nicest guys too. I mean, we've spent a lot of time with him when he was here last time, and just a straight, good, down to earth. He's like a Jersey country boy almost. Super polite, super nice. So those are the kind of athletes we want to work with. We want to work with ones that work hard, that promote themselves well on social media, that always bring the heat. That's why Nicky Rod and have kind of been our first 2 guys that we're willing to say, hey, we'll commit that money to you across these number of matches, and we'll do this. And we're those 2 are the first for us to really do it. So with Pat Downey, so recently it was announced that Gordon and Pat Downey versus Pat Downey, it's going to be like one freestyle match, which is, cool, and then one jiu-jitsu match, which is another shoulder shrug. Like I told him, I was like, look, if you're all about purist stuff and this and that, cool. You want to fight the guy fair and square, under the rules, whatever. And you want to do one in his rules, cool, whatever. But if you want people to really care and for it to be exciting, you take away the heel hooks and something that you might do in your rule set. And then you take some out of his rule set and you make it to where it can be more of an even match for both guys. And that's what we do. Like, I'm not coming in saying I'm going to put an Olympic wrestler in a straight jiu-jitsu match with the best in the world. Like, I'm never going to do that. Like, that's a waste of money. We know it's going to happen. It's not compelling. Like, nobody cares. So if you want people to care, you do things to make it to where it's like, oh, well, he's fighting the best in the world. But now he has a chance. And maybe he has no chance.
What if Pat beats him in the freestyle and Gordon beats him in the jiu-jitsu? Everyone's going to be like, no duh.
Cool. Yeah. So, I like those guys, the Fanatics guys. They got another event coming up, I believe, February 29th. And, we hope them well. I'm definitely going to tune in. I think it's on Fight TV. So there's been some streaming services coming up trying to snatch up events, throwing big money around. I think Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship is on Fight TV. At the end of the day, though, I want to be where the most jiu-jitsu people are, where the most jiu-jitsu people are subscribed, and that's Flow Grappling. And those guys are doing great stuff for the community and do it for. They've really
Sports.
Don't say that on the air, man. They were listening. With Flow Grappling, they're doing great things. They've really stepped their game up, I think, in a big way. At first, they were just really skeleton crewing it. There was like 3 or 4 man crew that was basically trying to cover the whole world, and the scene was growing faster than they could grow as a company. So, but I think it's catching up, and I think those guys are doing good things for the sport, and we're happy to be with them. So, moving on, I'm going to get into my Ryan Rants segment, which is, I've been kind of burned.
You follow Ryan on Facebook. You get a dose of this.
Not every day, but it's good. I like to put it out there because you know what, we live in a PC culture right now, not just in jiu-jitsu, not just in grappling, but as a society. And right now, the polite thing is to let people continue to be dumbasses, or to keep letting people put out terrible music, or let people keep doing stuff that is not good for them. If that's being politically correct, I don't want anything to do with it. And I think I've gone a long way to surrounding myself with people that don't let me buy into my own bullshit. Like Zach will check me in a heartbeat. I'll check Zach in a heartbeat, but I never have to do that. But, we've got a great group of people around us that don't let us buy into our own bullshit, and that will call us on if something looks stupid. Like I get criticized sometimes for being too direct and too blunt. Like I'm like the gym teacher that's going to make you cry.
Yeah, you got to be your biggest critic.
And I'm my worst.
It's people that settle on where they are average or where they succeed. That you got to keep going. You got to keep
changing
better.
it. You got to keep.
You got to look at where you're failing and improve that.
Yeah, so I'm looking into that. Like in jiu-jitsu, it's kind of a thing lately that the community is shielding like people, like bad people away from or continuing to blush, staying under their cover, and they're not really holding people accountable. And I don't like that. I think it sends the wrong message from our community, and I think it sends especially a community where we're in the business with kids, and we're in the business of being for our youth. And what does it say to us if we're bringing in athletes that are accused of, a myriad of different things, whether it's assault or sexual assault or, any other things? Like, what message are we sending to the youth of jiu-jitsu if we're allowing people time after time after time, grievances that might end them up in jail, come on our showcase for the world. I just don't think that's the right thing to do. But there are people out there that always will put money over everything. And, it's usually,
Oh, yeah.
and people say it, money over everything. But I think I found out early on, because my whole life I chased money. I chased the status, the job, the working at the Pentagon. Oh, I walked into the CIA headquarters. Oh, I did all this cool stuff. Wow, wow, wow. Look at me.
Most people think you go get money is the Pentagon.
No, government jobs, baby. There's a vault in the Pentagon. I mean, I'm just saying. But no, like when I was just obsessed with status and money and what people think. And all that did was drive me to be so unhappy and just so miserable when I was trying to live a life for somebody else. And like when I went through some issues probably about 5 or 6 years ago, I had some struggles with alcohol and substances there for a little bit that kind of related to my time in the service. And I had a situation where I went into a program and it changed my life. They put me in there with people that were, I'm talking like hardcore addicts, like IV drug users. And it was a scared straight program for me. And it made
The
me
Rock showed up, punched him in the balls.
Yeah. I realized it was kind of like, wow, like this is real life. Like this is real. And like me, my little recreational games and going out there. If you guys hear that, that's the cleaning lady who just for some fucking reason, every time we do a podcast
is
out there. No, you want mid for pillow? No, but that's really abrasive. But no, I mean, you go
it's
into
really
it.
dirty out there.
You go into it and you look at people that build things with passion, with love, with intentions and good vibes. And Third Coast was, and even when I was in the music industry, I just wanted to do it because I wanted to do the most drugs and be with the hottest women and drink the most alcohol and be around the biggest rock stars. I just, me, status. Well, when I started Third Coast, it was really the first thing I really kind of poured my heart and soul into. And you see the results now. I found, thankfully, Zach, who's just as passionate as I am about the business, and we've been able to kind of together take it to where it's at. But I think if you're only chasing money, you lose passion. If your passion is only chasing money, I think that's going to lead you to a road of never being satisfied because you're never going to have enough. You're always going to want more. You're always going to see people that have more, and you're always going to be looking at everybody else rather than inside of you and what really makes you happy.
Yeah, the money should buy you time to focus on your passions, and your passion can be your family, your business that you're running, jet skiing, whatever your passion is. That's what money gets you, is buying more time to do that stuff and not having to, basically a salary is a bribe to not follow your passions, right?
Pretty much, yeah. It's like saying, hey, we're going to retain you for this amount of money per year, but you have to give us 10 to 12 to 15-hour days and have a life. And I did that for a long time. I had some great jobs in the oil and gas industry. I've had some great government jobs, and all of it came down to I did really well. My heart wasn't in it. Once I left government work, where I was, around the soldiers and around the troops and actually doing stuff with some heart in it, like I couldn't find the fire anymore. And I think finally it was Third Coast after music was my first passion that I did really well in. But I think it took a while. And then Third Coast became.
You know what I think it actually was when we started doing the real estate stuff, that got your mind into, we can. It got your mind, I think, into an entrepreneurial. Wow, you could like do your own company. You can build your own thing, and the timing just lined up to where you saw an event that you were like, this is bad. Like, hey, I could do this. Yeah. We can pull in our resources of people that we know, and see where it goes. Yeah, it starts with a logo,
and the logo. I mean, that's basically what it was like. But getting back to it is, I think that when you are driving towards money and status and fame, that I don't think you're ever going to really enjoy it, because you can see some of the most miserable people are rich. Some of the most miserable people are famous. You've got celebrities out there killing themselves because they're so miserable. Because with that money and with that fame comes notoriety, because people want you for the wrong reasons, comes fake chips, fake people that are just trying to exploit you, and that will burn you out quickly. So I'm happy that we've been able to insulate myself with great people, Oliver, Zach, Lisa, the rest of our team. And, we run on passion here at Third Coast Grappling. Money, it comes and goes, but passion and
goes more than comes. But
but with passion, it's all heart. Everything we do is all heart. I'm all heart. And, that's what drives this company. So not spite motivation anymore. Spite motivation might motivate me to kick everybody's ass, but passion is what wakes me up every morning and makes me happy and proud that I get to do this hopefully for the rest of my life. So
No,
as
totally.
far as ranting goes, that was a little bit more heartfelt, Mr. Rogers. But follow your passions, follow your dreams, follow things. Like if you wake up and you do something in the morning and it burns you up, and you're like, man, I'm so excited. And you get so excited. Like I literally feel like I'm taking a hit of a drug sometimes when I announce a matchup because it's like it gets me so happy and excited to see people take to the stuff we're doing. Like and I knew that minute that we had something. And I think that if you wake up and you have something in your life that you feel that way about, you should go at it 1,000,000%.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll let Zach wrap up, guys. This has been a great episode. Kind of a little off-topic stuff, but it was great. It was all jiu-jitsu. It's all Third Coast. You got anything you want to say?
Yeah, I rolled with Lucas today. Actually, 2 days in a row. So I went with him yesterday, and I went with him today, and I finally tapped him.
Like Valente?
Yeah, Lucas Valente. I tapped him. Yeah. But I'm only releasing that information here.
Well, we were recording this for not
Is
even
he going to listen to this?
like tens of people.
Oh, okay.
No, I don't think he's going to listen.
Oh, never mind. He tapped me a bunch of times.
Well, so I will tell it. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to talk about that. My wrist hurts. I'm not even going to talk about that. But just put it this way.
He only wrist locks my left hand because he knows that's not the hand I write checks with.
He had Zach the other day, and
he said it. He's like, I'm not gonna touch your right hand, but your left hand. And my hand hurts from 2 days of getting
in mid roll with Zach. Lucas, I see him reach for Zach's like check right hand, and he switches it like mid. He goes, "Oh, I can't do that one."
And luckily, we were filming at the time, and I got a whole I guess we got a whole bunch of footage of me just getting dominated by Lucas. Ryan was like, "Oh, Lucas, throw him again!" Like,
no, I was like, "Get the camera on this roll quick, hey, Lucas, throw him real quick." And then Lucas
flying.
You see Zach pulling a Brendan Schaub on Cyborg, trying to base back so it didn't get put on a poster on the camera.
I'm trying to shove him with the shop shutdown.
The shop shut.
It didn't work.
No, it didn't. No, you didn't shut him down.
He's still no.
But shout out Brendan Schaub. Schaub shut down.
The best way to Schaub shut down Lucas is just to go in the locker room.
Do you think Schaub could shut down Lucas? Do you think he could play that game with him?
Yeah, I don't think he cares about jiu-jitsu.
No, I don't think so either. Make a lot of money. But guys, this has been our 5th episode. It's been great. We've got a lot of really cool stuff. Los Angeles, August 29th. We've got May 23rd in the UK. I'm working on something in July. We've got the East Coast in October.
Kids in April.
Third Coast Grappling 4 in March. Third Coast Grappling 5 in June.
Concert in May.
Yeah, we're working on that. I can't announce it yet, though. So, but everything's rocking and rolling. We're stronger than ever. There ain't no slowing down. So, tune in next week. See y'all later.
Peace.